Greetings and salutations, travelers. Welcome back to the Inn of Planar Crossroads. And as always, welcome back to our Around the Hearth discussions. Apologies for last episode. I wasn't able to check on my audio and stuff. Hopefully I fixed it in post where you at least got the idea of what I was saying, or I stitched theirs together in such a way where it made some sense. It should, especially with the different notes that we can have in it. So, anyway, if it's not, then it's not. And you're coming in on the second part of a discussion that we're having. The discussion is about One Big World, supposedly, kind of, maybe. I'm saving a twist in what I'm thinking for a little bit later. But for now, we talked about the building of the world and stuff in the last one. So now we're going to do factions within that world. And let's see. We've got a bunch of people's factions. So we're going to start with the smallest one. We're going to start with the smallest blurb first, again with Scrat. He had more in the front one and went first because of that, but now he's got less in the second one, so he's going to go first because of that, because there's a lot to get to.
Yeah, I'll say the rules just keep changing.
I know, right? I know. Rules keep changing. But before we get into that, go ahead and... I'm Adam L. Spain with the Inn of Planar Crossroads. We've got Dan from Avenue Studios. We've got Scrat from Squirrel Plays over on YouTube. Both of them are on YouTube. And then we've got Zach, also from Avenue Studios. So,
oh yeah,
there we go. Grab your preferred beverage. Join us around the hearth as we discuss the factions of One Big World and the fish guts. Skull.
Skull.
Okay.
Now that Scrat's learned how to play, he needs to play the middle of the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take us away.
Well, then it'll just be like, well, let's just start in the middle and see which way it leans. Anyway, for factions, let's see. I had... What'd you call it before we got started, Adam?
I said it was basically this world's version of Greenpeace.
Okay, see, I didn't know what that was.
That's, yeah.
But essentially, for what I understand, these are some people. Yeah, there you go. What I call them the coastal clerics, but they were.
I do like that.
Not so much like fish rights. It's these people a little more zealous than that. They think they're kind of a religious thing and want to protect them. A lot of wiggle room in what you can do. Like maybe they think the fish are here to, save us all, or this is penance for our sins or something like that. This is our fault. But like whoever's getting these things, the government or the corporations, whichever way you go, I imagine they're blocking off parts of the beach whenever something washes up. They'll just immediately barricade that area and see if they can dig anything more up. Or just keep somebody else from taking that fish, depending on how big it is. So when that happens, when those things go up, that's like when the coastal clerics come in and try and bust it all up. And they can't really save the fish. It's kind of dead. So maybe just throw it back in the ocean or something.
Supposedly, yeah.
Or maybe they're taking it for themselves, too. Yeah, that could be another thing.
I was going to say, this doesn't work at all with... Adam's ideas.
Yeah. Well, I won't.
And then if you did, yeah, and if you had the mutation thing we talked about at the end of the last episode, that would be the more extreme side of these guys. Like they're trying to become one with the fishies.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Which it sounded like everybody was kind of in favor for the mutations. I just felt like that was two totally different tech paths, basically, that would very much change your world, and it seemed like too much to have both.
I don't know. We've got both in our world.
Yeah.
I mean, not to. Well, maybe we'll save that for that because I had some thoughts on that in the player items section.
I confused Zach for a second. So we have both in our world in the sense that we have mechanical technology and we have biotechnology.
Thank you.
You don't know about the fish mutations, Zach?
For a moment here, let's go grab some tinfoil.
No, dude, down in the depths, man. It's like there was a sound out in the Pacific Ocean in the most isolated part of it, man. That's where the temple is, dude.
That horrible movie had it right all along. What was that? What was that movie with the underwater temple? With the big robots.
And robots?
Big robots
Still
fighting
Atlantis?
big monsters?
Yeah,
Still
the recent
Atlantis.
one, right?
No.
No,
Pacific
old
Rim?
one?
Kinda
No. That's what I
older
was
at
thinking
this
of,
point.
Pacific Rim.
Okay.
Yeah, that one. Didn't they?
Oh,
Wasn't
that
there
one.
like some big temple underground they had to
I
take
actually-
a sub to? Or was that a terrible American Godzilla movie?
It was a rift.
And King Kong?
I didn't see Pacific Rim.
It's a big old rift at the bottom of the ocean.
It might be a terrible Godzilla movie I'm thinking of. One of the American ones. Where there was this... They had to take a sub, and there was this underwater labyrinth temple kind of thing, and it was like super hot under there.
I don't
Is that
know.
not Pacific
I'll
Rim?
look it up. I don't know, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Well, don't look it up right this
It was
second. Tell us
stupid,
about
carry
whatever it
on.
was.
tell us about your
Yeah.
Tide Watch. We heard about the
I-
coastal clerics from Scrat. Now tell us about your
Yes.
Tide Watch.
So I went with a shadow network of spies, assassins, and saboteurs thriving in the blurred edges between nations as we are. I like the idea that there's a Cold War going on. We haven't really talked yet about like how heavy or obvious it is compared to like real life, but they emerged after. At first, they had the first nuclear incident, but I think it should just be they emerged during the hot war, and have now continued to be here. And governments are secretly hiring deniable agents to recover lost tech, drift glass, and silence witnesses. The Tide Watch found profit in chaos and purpose in secret knowledge. They have a base of operations in the Miami City, or whatever city you use, a decaying offshore oil platform converted into a listening post and black market exchange known as Platform 9. And then a couple miscellaneous things. Their symbol is a spiral shell pierced by a dagger. Their phrase is info is currency, loyalty is a loan. And then I thought early James Bond style tech mixed with the drift glass. So a lot of...
That's how Q gets
secret
all of his
spy.
tech.
Yes, exactly. I was thinking he's just more of a drift glass enthusiast.
That's how the Aston Martin worked.
See? Yes.
That's how you
So,
could
yeah,
store
that's it.
too much stuff in a single area. Yeah.
Yes. Breaking all the rules of physics. Adam said it was okay.
Okie dokie. So we got
I like the idea of CIA versus cult because you both of them have like this idea of like secret esoteric knowledge of their own type.
Yes.
We know the mysteries. We solve the mysteries.
and
and
I kind of like... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Adam.
and I was just going to say, and frankly, they both probably are partially right.
Right. Yes. Well, and I was thinking, depending, the governments might think, especially with what we talked about last time, with what are the reasons for the drift glass appearing, the governments have some theories on it, and they want to make sure that no evidence points back to them. Also, if we're having it in a central location like Miami, Florida coastline is the main place, of course, every other country is wanting to get it. So there's assassinations. You could do corporation infiltration, cyberpunk style too. There's a lot of options there, and I think it mixes well with both Zex and Scrat's factions too, because they're kind of a freelance team. So if there's some coastal clerics that want to work for the Tide Watch, that'd be fine. And I'm sure some of Zek's faction would. They might need a few bucks. They want to keep some secrets.
And then you can always make some side deals.
Or there's someone that's defected from the Tide Watch and has moved into
the Neon Generation.
The Neon Generation, yeah.
Well, speaking of which, then, why don't we have some of that explained for us?
Okay, so I'm going with this with a faction that's devoted to the rebellious youth of the 70s and the color, the flavor, the funk of the new generation. So my faction is not an organized, centralized group. It's a generational thing. It's the youth of today that are breaking out of the bonds. They're sick of the Cold War. They're sick of the government telling them what to do, and their vibe being oppressed. So they want to breathe. They want to develop their own future of neon lights, synth waves, exciting new possibilities, and pushing humanity to the limits. So they are all about the groove and the vibe of life, and the infusion of this driftglass means that there's untapped potential for technology, and they're going to dive into that for some practical efforts, but also a lot of artistic efforts. So they fall into 5 sub-factions, depending on what each person's individual bent is. And the aspect that these little sub-factions are focusing on aren't like organized groups as much as they are like company startups. Like, this is like the guy in his garage that's like working on VR, or someone who's got a nightclub and they've got like the most pulsing sound and they're looking for ways to drive that up to the next level. It's the local arcade that like pulls people in, and that's where talks of a new life and a new future. Basically, the idea is they're dreaming and visualizing what a cyberpunk future could be, and they're building the ground up for it. And so you've got your 5 pillars to that. You've got people that are working with cybernetic enhancements. Those are the people that want to take this big chunky technology and like build it onto themselves. Some things that give them an augmented strength, neural bands, reinforced frames, things that turn them physically into the next new thing, but also with style. It's big, it's punky, the crystals are there invisible. They walk around and they show what they are, what they can do. They are walking advertisement. You've got people that are into experimental drugs, things that can produce a whole new vibe, a whole new sensation, a whole new level of awareness. You're tripping out on stuff that may be ground up elements of this glass or of these fish guts that have been refined. You have people developing the early digital VR space where it's like neon wire-framed otherworldly experiences that you get through, headsets and like the very, very proto-matrix, the proto-internet. Things can connect in between things in a new way, but maybe it is done through like this version, like a new version of like a new radio wave. There's art and music and the manipulation that can come through that, the latest sounds, the latest grooves, is the beat that you live your life by. It's music, it's drawing, neon lights in the sky, on your billboards, on yourselves. It's all about color and excitement. And then you've the people that, build all the tech for this. And someone has to be the crunchy person that's maybe a little bit less overt, but everybody's got to have, the mechanics guy. That's got to be the person that's building your boom boxes, building your proto skateboards and hoverboards, that are building your, newfangled walkie-talkies and VR headsets. But I think the thing that sets this apart in its disco punk vibe is that each of these little sub-factions has tapped into a mystical element that on the surface level they don't know is there. But the people who are the deepest into them have stumbled across. People that are doing the drugs for experience and performance enhancement are actually getting extrasensory perception. They're tapping into that baseline mystic perceptive element that comes through drugs, that comes from these fish and the crystals. The people that are into the art and music understand that there is a hypnotic effect. There is a compulsion. There is a way of communicating irresistibly to other people. It's the full effect of what we dream art to be. It conveys a message. The VR headspace is actually not just a digital world, but an actual plane of existence. It allows you to move and interact with technology in the real world on a sub-world level that most people just think is codes and numbers, but it's more. The enhancements are for your own physical body, are giving you some superhuman abilities, so you can have your base level superhero kind of stuff happening on there, extra strength, extra durability that is truly beyond the physical. But, it might just feel like you're strong. Maybe nothing fishy going on. And then, lastly, yeah, I know, I'm sorry, couldn't help it. And lastly, for the tinkerers and the mechanics, oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
All the puns are intended here.
All the puns.
And for the tinkerers, people that understand machines, understand that they have an animalistic spirit. They can sense that this boombox is a monkey, or that little companion droid is a dog, or my VR headset is kind of a spider. They sense an animalistic nature that allows them to tune with it better, to communicate and get a little bit more from it than someone else. Tinkering tells you a little bit of what it is. Building something from the ground up tells you who it is. And maybe if all of these factions put something together, something more would emerge. Emergent properties, something from below, something from beyond. Who knows what happens? But as they all kind of are nestled in their own little startup companies, trying to become the next big, megacorp thing, there's little politics. Maybe I make a deal here. Maybe we blend a little bit of our technology with a little bit of your technology. Have fun experimenting. That's what the system can do for you.
Yeah. It seems like the word generation fits this good, because
yes,
it might actually be considered more of a this is what the generation calls itself. Maybe the young people in that generation just call themselves the Neon Generation. There's no Gen X. It's just the Neon Generation. And so all of these are actually 5 different things in 5 different factions in the Neon Generation.
Yeah. It's the idea is that the unifying principle is the progressivism, the enhancement, and living life by the vibe that these things produce, more than just a matter of a political allegiance. So you could think of them as 5 small factions, or you could think of it as there's a generational mindset that goes into this. I want to be the new thing. I want to be living life to the beat and to the groove. Everyone's convinced that their subsection is the path forward, but they might be, prejudice or preference for their own type or their own allegiance, but they would get along with each other better than they would, say, a fishy cult, or the CIA, hand of the government, the man that might be trying to squelch their fun.
Well, it would seem like different ones of them would interact better with the others. Like the coastal clerics would probably be customers of the experimental drug innovators.
Yes.
Whereas the analog engineers and mechanics and the cybernetic emplacements, that would be right up the Tide Watch's alley. So those factions could all be interacting with each other on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. And there is the Tide Watch is not meant to be, they don't care who they work for. It's highest bidder.
Nice.
So there's a potential that they could stick it to the man if they wanted, but at the same time, the Tide Watch would also help the man.
It's also possible too that with this reality altering and changing material, that the entire politics, we're using Miami as a fill-in, but in this setting, it could be this has become the hub of the world. Instead of New York and LA, New York,
or, I was going to say
like that, and the North being this fictional America's headquarters, it's all shifted. Maybe Florida and I don't know, some of the other states might have come with it or something like that. They just did their own thing because they could, because they got this and they can, and that's where the Tide Watch comes in.
I love this idea. I love this idea that this is so singular that, you know, the local governance is suddenly its own world power, and it suddenly tells, like, you know, the federal government just like, you can't actually tell us what to do anymore.
Right.
You make deals with us.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of the word, but Silicon Valley is no longer Silicon Valley. It's Drift
Miami Bay.
Miami Bay, yeah.
Miami.
Right?
Yep.
There's two things I like about this, or one thing I like is that they're the generation that invents what will inevitably be the mega corporation that controls everything in the cyberpunk future.
Assuming there is a cyberpunk future.
Right, well, fair enough.
Right.
The only other thought I had was throwing out the animal aspect. It could be fun to do a lot of sea creatures for that. At least the initial, whatever crystals they're using, you might kind of be able to figure out what. And those don't necessarily have to be real IRL sea creatures necessarily.
Yeah.
So that could be a fun thing. And then, as like Scrap was saying, as these living ones are coming out, how is that affecting what those specific ones are that already have a personality?
Right. The idea is that all of this can be disrupted once the not so dead things come through. That's gonna be the big check and balance to the progressive nature of this. They'll hold each other back a little bit because they might sabotage and try and steal each other's secrets. You know, early end Shadowrun kind of like, you know, conflicts. But then something's gonna come in. You know, these not so dead ones that disrupt all this is gonna throw off the groove.
It could be fun depending on what people want to play. The VR and digital stuff. What happens when the not so dead come up and start messing with the signal?
Like that. I have a little write up. I have a lot of write up. Okay, between how each of those can be affected by the other factions, how they relate to each other. And we'll get to like gear and stuff later. I'm trying to hold back on the gear.
We're almost there. It's next time.
Yep. Okay.
But to throw in some things, I guess for media consumption and inspiration for those that are listening to this and being like, "Oh, cool!" But how will we put this in an actual game? So, like with the coastal clerics, I think, and this is the deity or the being that I think would be really good to incorporate in this if you're going to directly draw from the Cthulhu mythos. It is not actually Dagon and not actually Mother Hydra, because those are more froggy, but also those are done pretty much. Those are done quite a bit. You can actually draw on something like Nyarlathotep, who is the messenger, a kind of harbinger of things, and Nyarlathotep could be the one pushing this. He's usually associated less with the cephalopod and stuff. Well, not necessarily cephalopod. Less with the sea stuff, but that may be just part of the nature of where that portal is, or that whatever he's coming through is. And why it's being affected that way is just because of what's around it. But I think it would be cool if the coastal clerics... I'm going to throw out some for each of the things. So for the coastal clerics, I think one of the drivers for them that would be cool is if they actually do have something living. Not just living, but sentient, sapient, but unable to care for itself physically, and so it needs them to care for it until it's emerged, or till whatever it is emerged. Maybe that's what. Maybe the portal needs to be not just a thing that they've disturbed and that's down there. It has to be a living thing capable of allowing whatever's trying to come through the portal to instead come through them as the portal, type of thing. Very dark cult stuff. So could go with that. For the Tide Watch, getting into I actually think would be a fun one to be a part of if you are investigating in these other 5 sections or into the coastal clerics. So for like the experimental drug one, that's pretty fun. It's like you could as a GM just have like this acid trip light show in your, like if you were doing it in a physical room, you could just have like the disco ball going, but then also have those light projectors that just display a lot of stuff, and then you got this acid trip type of stuff happening when they're inside the dreamscape perhaps that they're exploring, because maybe these experimental drugs are allowing that, and people are starting to experience their dreams, and things are starting to happen to them in the dreams that happen to them in their real life. Like they go on this weird tidal trip, I guess that's what they call it, and then it is now. But they go on a tidal trip, and it's like they dream that they're surfing, but then they crash and they break their leg. They ride their wave, and then but they come down hard, man. They land and they break their leg, and they wake up and they actually have a broken leg. Everything's the same, and it's not like they went anywhere, but they have broken their leg, or some kind of thing like that. The VR thing is interesting because you could have it where it's affecting people's perceptions every day. So maybe the glasses kind of slip over, and so the Tide Watch is investigating. They're basically the paranormal investigation type of thing in this particular idea. They're investigating incidences of people who have been using a certain newly developed VR headset, that they're going about their normal life and their stuff like that, and they're having their fun games, but certain newer models have people that are viewing things, and then they'll take the glasses off and they'll go about their normal day, and then they'll start seeing things out of the corner of their eye, or they'll start looking at somebody they've known forever, and they see something different about them. So there's like this Tide Glass VR syndrome or psychosis or something.
Like a lingering augmented reality. It's not just an overlay anymore. You can't take the overlay off.
Yeah, you can't take the overlay off anymore. And so
IRL
they end up
artifacting.
Yeah. The cybernetic enhancement one, that's pretty fun because you could actually play up something like an investigation of maybe someone's got some cybernetic enhancements and they're getting pretty deep in their enhancements. And so the enhancements are still chunky, right? Because, we're at 70s tech and stuff like that. So they're just sleeping and stuff. And they'll go to sleep, but maybe they went to this back alley person, and the clinic that they went to had a CC on it or something like that. And they got their enhancement, and now it's almost like the enhancement's doing its own thing. So my idea is that they're sleeping and stuff like that. They're going about their normal day, but the enhancement itself is sending out its own little tendrils to absorb more tech into the enhancement and more tech. And depending on how quickly the Tide Watch is able to get to them and do something about that, if they can, they may find them absorbed into their torso, just sticking out of a wall of tech that this thing has absorbed to make it, because that's what it is. So for the art and music manipulations, you can look to another Lovecraft story called Medusa's Coil. It's actually an H.P. Lovecraft and Zelia Bishop. She did a lot of stuff with snake imagery in hers. So it's got a Medusa's Coil. There's a painting in it that's supernatural. So that's what I can say without too many spoilers. But it could be a fun, interesting one. And then the Analog and Engineers. There's always the possibility that somebody's inventing something they really shouldn't. So. But those are some ideas for some adventures or some adventure cues for these different factions. Mm-hmm. And it seems like Scrat made the most. I think he made the evilest ones. So I think that.
But they're clerics.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, religion's good like that.
All right. I think we are also pretty close to time. Yeah, we're just a smidge over what we usually are at about we're close to 30 minutes, which is what we're trying to keep it. So, we hope you have enjoyed. We had the question earlier on what we thought would make a good barbarian, how to make a barbarian in this, and that's when Zach said he wanted to save his for this chat. So how would you make a barbarian in this, Zach?
You put too much of it all together. So you get someone who builds in the cybernetics. They run themselves up with drugs. They've got an AR overlay that allows them to zone in on things. It's built up, and then why not? They've got a built-in boombox on their shoulder. They
play their own theme music.
Like nightclubs, they play their own music and they just go ham. It's not just cyberpunk psychosis. It's you're dancing to a groove. You're gonna have disco ball flashbangs. You're gonna go in with glow stick nightsticks, and you're gonna be rocking out and trashing the house. Come on! What is better than that? You're barbarian with style, with groove.
I was say they have those huge, ridiculous pauldrons, but they're actually speakers.
Yes.
I love that. The augmented reality, they're basically doing DDR, so they're getting points when they land a hit. Perfect. Go score. You missed.
I love that, and I love the arcade mentality that goes into it, because they're still in it for the fun. They're still in it for the high score.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
It registers at the local arcade who got the highest score on the barbarian run. That's posted up there. People are in there crammed in watching this on a movie screen, because there's definitely an old camera built in there. Not little thing. There's a thing that's built onto them so that they can, people get that first-hand experience while tripping acid at the club, so they can also really feel what's happening too.
They better hope he makes it through the run then, if they're tripping that kind of acid, that tidal acid, because that's a.
Let's say then all the tech breaks and they wake up and realize it wasn't a game they were playing. Now you have a broken barbarian.
That's another quest hook too.
Oh yeah.
All right. Sounds appropriately barbarian-esque to me. So
nice.
All right. Well, we hope you have enjoyed, everybody, and we hope that next time I believe, if everything is correct, My voice has been recorded this time. So we hope that next time you'll join us, where we're going to be talking about the player accessory, player items, player portion of what this world building would look like for one big world. I'm still saving for my little kind of twist at the end for my idea on it. But you'll have to tune in next time to hear about our player stuff. As always, we hope you have enjoyed. Have a great day. God bless. Enjoy. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
This content was made possible by travelers and viewers like you. Thank you.
Did it not work?
There we go. What?
Oh.
Oh, I'm so sorry, dude.
Okay. All right. Well, I will put y'all's stuff in there, and I will try and see about putting my remarks in there. We're not going to stop. We're going to keep going.
But you've got to fix now,
Right,
though,
you-
right?
I say you want to do a quick little. Yes,
Yeah,
1,
I
2,
see
3?
mine now. I see mine moving now. So, it's a moving. And y'all were fine. Y'all sounded good. So,
Oh, my heart breaks for you. Dude, I've been there so many times.
On the plus side, Adam, you can rest in confidence knowing that nobody got that story spoiled.
that's true.
Yeah.
Nobody got the story spoiled.
That's funny.
So, yeah, I'll just...
I told you listening was going to create madness, and I mean, that maybe this was just a good thing.
Well, now they're just lulled into a false sense of security. Now they're going to come in on the second one and really lose it.
Oh, gosh.
All right. All right, let's make sure this one... actually
Come on,
did it.
baby.
I'm going to get a drink so I can have
Okay.
a beverage of choice for that
Yeah.
beverage of choice bit.
Yeah.